So same as usual, before we start, we will meditate the breathing meditation. Our intention to do the breathing meditation is, reconnect our mind. So, try to relax your body, try to relax your mind. Once body and mind both are relaxed, and we keep focus on our breathing and try to calm our mind on the state of the breathing. Okay, so so continuously, we just rest on that state of calm mind, and I'm going to recite the Heart Sutra. Meanwhile, we recite Heart Sutra. We feel the presence of all sublime wisdoms, all the pristine wisdom. Through this pristine wisdom, then we dispel all our negative emotions and all the obscursion, mental obscursions. Dige dagi tyoba tyoye jina jumne de gebyo gao chago kongore da gelonge gendu chenpo de chenju senpe gendu chenpo da tabchu do shu de tiye tse jumne de semme na she chebe chu jan namra ji tenge zela nyambar shu so yang tiye tse chenju senpa senpa chenpo yang tiye tse chenju senpa senpa chenpo kawa chene se wanchu sherab ki paro de chenpa samma choba nita nam tashi konggo nga bote dala ya rashi ki tongwa nam tao tene sange ki tuyo tse dan denpa sherab ki chenju senpa senpa chenpo Papa Generis Monjula Digation so Rigipo, Kala Shirabi Paradishima, some mutual Juba, Deva, the Chidala Varcha, Digation, and Badish, and Jusama, Simajimo, Papa Generis, Monjula, and Masherita, Depola Digations, Sheripo, Rigipo, and Rigipo, Mokala, Shirabi Paradishima, some Jovara, Paradeva, the Namata, the Kumama, the Yashi, Tomanama, what is the dog. Sudombo, Tomani, Tomani, Shema, Tomani, Sushima, teaching to Tawada, the Sheda, the Jeda, number 7 on Tomo. Sheribu to the Judam Jetomani, the Tinima, Majeva, Mango, Timame, Timana, Tawame, Kawame, Sheribu to the Tomani, Sumet, Medici, Medijan, and number 7 men, all men, Michimeli, Mesumeda, Michimero, Regime, the Me, Kamevani, Kame, number 7 from Yapardoyamen. Mariba, Mariba, Sebame, Kashime, Pardoyame, Dotishin to Donga, Kunju, Koba, Lame, Shimeto, Matoba, the Sheribu to the Nashi Jusambana, Tobame, the Cherry, Parudo, Chimbala, Tenjin, the Sama Divame, Tawame. Chinji lo le shindu de nyangale de tarachendo Tusun the number sugar sange tamje shirabi parudo chimbala de la name ba yanda bazo we chenju no bazo wa sa ni so tada na shirabi parudo chimenga re kwa chimenga na name nga menya bada nyame nga dunga de jarab de shor chimenga mizuba na de marsha barcha de shirabi parudo chimenga me bata ta omo kate para sam kate podi so ha Sheribu Chinju Samba Sambachimo to the Sherabi Paru, the Chimba Samola Lava Chawat in the Jumla thing and selection, the Chinju Samba Sambachimo, watching as a modular lecture, watching and less or less or rigible. Tete no rigible, Tete Shin, the Chidachu Yama Shin, the Sherabi Paru, the Chimba Samola Chavarchi, the Shawan, Yajiso Yara, Junet, the Gods, and the Sudan, the Bashari, the Depo, the Chinju Samba Sambachimo. Our genesis one Jew, the Tamjida, the correct data, Hadamida, Hamai, that is a Chivichi, the John de Yusumba, Mombara, Dayata, Omokate, Paragate, Para, Samgate, Bodi, so our Kujosum Yekai, the Beto, the Chair, Dover, Juji, Mero, Juji, Shora, Juji, Rabdo, Shora, Guruji, Kagi, Parjemi, Nubi, Choni, Batam, Jeshin, Gurui, so Giri Konda Jeju Shawa, Mindun, and Bekana, Chawa, Timber Project, Pison, so you get Tashi, Teja, and the show. So, continuously we will recite Heart Sutra in English. Thus have I heard at one time the Lord was dwelling at Rajagriha on Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great host of monks and a great host of bodhisattva. At that time the Lord was composed in the concentration on the course of dharmas called profound illumination. At that time also the noble Lord Avalokita, the bodhisattva and mahasattva, in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, looked down. He beheld but 5 skandhas, and that in their own being they were empty. Then through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Lord Avalokita, the Bodhisattva and Mahasattva, how should any child of good family train who wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom? And the noble Lord Avalokita, the Bodhisattva and Mahasattva, spoke to the Venerable Shariputra as follows: Shariputra, any son or daughter of a good family who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it thus. He or she beholds but 5 skandhas, and that in their own being they are empty. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Emptiness does not differ from form, and form does not differ from emptiness. Likewise, feelings, recognitions, volitions, and consciousness are empty. So Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness without differentiating marks. They are not produced or stopped, not defiled and not immaculate, not deficient and not complete. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no volitions, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tangible, no mental object, no eye element, and so forth, up to no mind element and no mental consciousness element, no ignorance and no extinction of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death and no extinction of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no wisdom, knowledge, no attainment, and non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas abide relying on the perfection of wisdom without obscurations of thought, and so are unafraid. Transcending perverted views, they attain the end nirvana, all Buddhas existing in 3 times, relying on the perfection of wisdoms, fully awaken to the highest perfection enlightenment. Therefore, one should know that the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the mantra of great knowledge. The highest mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that allies all suffering, the truth, since it has nothing wrong, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Dayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. In this way, Shariputra, Shuddha Bodhisattva and Mahasattva train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Lord rose from that concentration and commended the noble Lord Avalokita, the Bodhisattva and Mahasattva, saying, well said, O son of good family, so it is. O son of good family, so it is. Just as you have taught, should the profound perfection of wisdom be practiced, and the Tathagata will rejoice. Thus spoke the Lord, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Lord Avalokita, the Bodhisattva and the Mahasattva, and the whole world, that assembly with the Devas, human beings, Asuras, and Gandharvas, who are delighted and applauded the Lord's speech. I prostrate to the gathering of Dakinis of the 3 places coming from the supreme holy side of the Kechu, pure land, who have powers of clairvoyance and magical emanation and regard practitioner as their children. Aga samaraza shadara samarayape, aga samaraza shadara samarayape, aga samaraza shadara samarayape, dayata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Dayata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Dayata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Through the power of the great truth of the words of the exalted 3 jewels, may all adverse conditions be overcome. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. May all evils such as enemies, obstacles, hindrances, and adverse conditions be pacified. Shanti Guru Yesoha. May the 80,000 types of obstacles be pacified. May we be separated from adverse, harmful conditions. May everything conducive be obtained and be the auspiciousness of everything good. May there be excellent happiness here and now. Okay, so continuously we will take refuge and generate the mind of bodhicitta. So first we should, before we take the refuge, we should develop or cultivate the cause of the refuge. Cause of the refuge is the cause of the refuge. It's fear and trust. I mean, like we need to take precautions that from today we all have possibility to born in lower realms, keep staying in samsara, not achieving the state of enlightenment if we don't look after well our consciousness. So there is a possibility to manifest the destructive emotions. So there's always risk caused by the destructive emotions. So before the destructive emotion dominate us, we should trust Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and we follow their teachings. The best teaching, the essence, the teaching of the the essential teaching of the Buddha is the teaching of bodhicitta. So that's why once we take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, we generate the mind of bodhicitta. While how to generate the mind of bodhicitta, we should think benefit for all sentient beings. We should achieve the state of enlightenment. So through this intention, we are going to start today's our morning sessions. So we will recite, taking refuge and generate the mind of bodhicitta. Sanye chedaye tsoye chanamaye laye chanjuye pardu dane gyabzuye che daye chejin geben tsonamaye gyen rolaye penjire sanye rubaraye shoy. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the virtuous merit created by listening to the Dharma, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the virtuous merit created by listening to the Dharma, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all beings. Okay, so continuously we will offer an offering, mandala offering. Through this offering, then we ask, we ask all the master, direct masters, and lineage master to give us all that kind, like the transmission of Dharma. So. Okay, so so today we will start the teaching composed by Lama Tsongkhapa, Praise of Dependent Origination. So this teaching is a very blissful teaching. So especially today is a very auspicious day to talk and meditate in such a teaching like dependent originations, because today is based on our lunar calendar or Tibetan calendar is the day of the Dakinis. So the day as a day of the Dakinis. What does it mean, the Dakinis? Literally, Dakini means like those who walk in the sky. Those who walk in the sky. It doesn't, those who walk in the sky, what does it mean, those who walk in the sky? It means, the sky means emptiness. The sky here, sky is like, free of obstructions. And the sky is luminous and free of obscuration. So it's the symbol of the emptiness. So those who walk in the sky, it means those who has a realization of emptiness. So those who has a realization of emptiness, they always help us to, liberate from all our negative resources, or those who help us to liberate from the, attachment, anger, and hatred. So that's why the Dakini, it's like helper, our helper. So today is the day of the Dakini. So those in this, it's good to, it's a very auspicious day to meditate and initiate such a profound teaching like Praise of Dependent Originations. So as a Dakini day, and this text is composed by Lama Tsongkhapa through his own realization, because Lama Tsongkhapa was always willing to achieve the state of, willing to achieve the realization of emptiness. And he was, from a very young age, he started to searching, and he started to, search the realization of emptiness. He was so moved and touched into, that kind of pristine wisdom. So, and through Lama Umapa is one of the great Tibetan classic master, and Lama Umapa from very young age, he had a direct communication with Manjushri. From time to time, Manjushri manifested to, in front of Lama Umapa. So then, Lama Tsongkhapa asked help to Lama Umapa as an interpreter between Lama Tsongkhapa and Manjushri. So he consoled Lama Umapa, and Lama Umapa consoled Manjushri, and Manjushri gave a direct teaching to Lama Tsongkhapa, but Lama Tsongkhapa didn't understand well the profound vision of emptiness. And then as soon as he developed his own vision to see the Manjushri as his own root guru, Manjushri used to teach direct teaching to Lama Tsongkhapa. But even Lama Tsongkhapa received direct teaching from Manjushri as a like a synthesis of all the sublime wisdom of all the enlightenment beings. Imagine but Lama Tsongkhapa, the teaching was so profound. Lama Tsongkhapa one day he said, "Now I have a headache and I don't understand what you are talking about, but I don't get it." And Lama Manjushri said, "There's no worry to because he was not understanding well what the Manjushri taught, because still Lama Tsongkhapa's continuous mind, they have a lot of conceptual thoughts and mental obscurations. So until he purified all those mental obscurations, there's no possibility to connect with that the pristine wisdom. So Manjushri recommend to Lama Tsongkhapa to do those preliminaries practice. Actually, the preliminaries practice Lama Tsongkhapa already done a lot, but it was not enough. In that moment, Lama Tsongkhapa was already very popular. He became already popular teachers, very popular, and he was attending 1,000 students. So Lama Tsongkhapa, when Manjushri recommended to Lama Tsongkhapa to do the preliminary practice, so there was a little bit controversy in the monastery, because they says, oh, Lama Tsongkhapa guiding a lot of students. Those students are going to, those students are not going to receive direct teaching from Lama Tsongkhapa. It will be, it will be problem in the monastery. There was controversy, and Manjushri said he knows much more than those people who are criticizing, and so they don't. He said to Lama Tsongkhapa, don't need to follow those ordinary criticize. It's better to follow the wisdom of enlightenment beings, because they see much more profound. It was true. Then Lama Tsongkhapa gave up all his routine and daily activities like composing texts and giving teachings. So Lama Tsongkhapa, he went to the retreat, especially retreat for the preliminaries, which we do like prostrations, recitations, and taking refuge. All those he was doing, and at the same time he was meditating the emptiness. He was, studying those classic texts of texts related with the emptiness. So, because he was so willing to have the realization of emptiness, and it's whosoever wish to achieve the state of liberation, so it's very important to discover that pristine wisdom. Otherwise, we cannot dispel our delusions and our but we ordinary beings usually we don't show much interest such a teaching like emptiness, and such a teaching profound teaching like emptyness and dependent, because we don't know much about the state of liberations, and we are so hooked with our sensorial pleasure and sensorial object, and so we show more interest some teaching related with the emotion, feelings, and how to overcome our day-to-day life, those complex thoughts. Just wish to have a little bit calm mind, relaxations. This is what we interest, because we don't know the state of liberation. We don't know about state of liberation, and we are not. I think it's because of the lack of knowledge. So that's why we don't show much interest, because our mind, our emotion and consciousness are so influenced with the attachment and grasping, craving, and liberation sound us like the separations, without having any feelings, etc. So I think they have a lot of material interest too. I think when we talk about the meditation, so immediately we talk about some certain postures, some certain circumstances where there is no conflict, calm, river, trees, like some kind of resorts. We always imagine some kind of nice and cool resorts. I think there is a lot of influence by material interests. I think behind all this concept, I think there is a Safu industrial. Safu, like a meditation cushion. The meditation cushion they need to sell. So before we meditate, we always think about the meditation cushion, the safu, etc. So otherwise we like same as the yoga, like if you do yoga, you need to you must need to have a yoga mattress. I don't know those yogis, they have a yoga mattress or not, while they were so expert in the yoga. But these days in the yoga, meditation, yoga trousers, yoga, etc. So same it happens because we are so materialized. So that's why we are more interested in such a teaching. But the actual teaching which it gives us the totally and long-lasting peaceful mind is the teaching of emptiness and dependent origination. So anyhow, so Lama Tsongkhapa, back to Lama Tsongkhapa. So Lama Tsongkhapa went to the retreat and he did months and years only focused on those practices which help him to generate the mind of bodhicitta and the purification. He only focused, and at the same time taking refuge. And one night suddenly he dreamed all those classical teachers from Buddha Shakyamuni until the Nagarjuna and Buddha Palita, the direct disciple of Nagarjuna. So they give, they bless the text of Buddha Palita one by one, and finally Buddha Palita gave him that textbook to Lama Tsongkhapa, and Lama Tsongkhapa received the text, and the next day when he woke up and he took refuge and generated the mind of bodhicitta, and then he started to read the text of Buddha Palita. The moment that he read the text of Buddha Palita, I don't remember which chapter, but one specific chapter, I think. So when they reach in this chapter, and he realized, he discovered or he realized the direct perception of the emptiness. The moment that he received the direct perception of emptiness, and he just spontaneously he composed that praise of dependent origination, just without any previous note or just preparation. Just spontaneously he expressed verbally this praise dependent origination, because he developed genuine faith to Buddha. So this is what he said. He was born in a Buddhist family, and he involved the practice since very young age. It's very usual to take refuge, but he never developed such a devotions that he developed after he realized the dependent originations and emptiness. So he was so touched to Buddha, and he composed this text spontaneously, and so that's why this text is a very just after realized. He composed just after he realized the vision of emptiness. So that's why it's today is a very appropriate day and auspicious day to to meditate and follow such precious teachings like as Dakini Day. Dakini is those who walk in the sky. Okay, so that's why I would like to, before we start, I would like to recite the prayer of the Lama Tsongkhapa, Miktsema. So once we recite and we visualize Lama Tsongkhapa find himself in front of us, and the Lama Tsongkhapa give us all those sublime qualities. Although the quality of the Buddha, when it get together, all those qualities, when it get together, it is quality of compassion or kindness, and a quality of wisdom, and quality of power. And through the kind and wisdom and power, we can liberate all sentient beings from samsara, or from suffering. So we visualize in front of us Lama Tsongkhapa, and we recite this prayer. Through this prayer, we receive all those direct transmission of dependent originations. Direct through Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa is our lineage guru and our root guru and our founder of the school which we belong to. Lama Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of Tibetan sages, who was an incarnation of the three Bodhisattvas, Avalokiteshvara, treasure of unapprehendable compassion, Manjushri, lord of the stainless wisdom, and Vajrapani, destroyer of Mara's armies. To Tsongkhapa, Lobsang I bow down. To Lama Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of Tibetan sages, who was an incarnation of the three Bodhisattvas, Avalokiteshvara, treasure of unapprehendable compassion, Manjushri, lord of the stainless wisdom, and Vajrapani, destroyer of Mara's armies. To Tsongkhapa, Lobsang I bow down. Okay. So we go to the press of dependent origination. It's they have more than there's something 58 verses. It's a profound and extensive teaching. So we have apparently we have only today's our last teaching and tomorrow's initiation, right? Right. So we may not finish the teaching. So I think now is not the moment of finishing the teaching. It's a moment to starting the teaching. Right. Yeah, we should start. The practice. Our problem is not. We have a difficulty to initiate and we have difficulty to follow. So that's why today we start. But I think it's more important. Starting is more important than finishing. And sooner or later we are going to finish, because once we realize we finish the practice. So that's why we are not interested to be good practitioner. We are interested to be, how to overcome our practice. One day, our interest, and the main goal is not to be a practitioner. Right. Yeah. So that's why, how to transcend it in the practitioner or practice. So that's why, sooner or later we are going to finish. So right now important is, we should start the practice, that we can, liberate all our congestion mind and our, liberate all our release, all our, what's called is our mind is constipated. We need to release all those, constipation, mental constipation through the wisdoms. So that's why if we the only way to release those all, mental constipation or mental conjunctions. It's if we follow the teaching and if we develop our wisdoms, cultivate. So as Lama Tsongkhapa here said, he finished in English. Then Lama Tsongkhapa he homage, he pay respect to Buddha Shakyamuni. He said, "He who speaks on the basis of seeing, this makes him a knower and teacher unexcelled. I go to you, O conqueror, you who saw dependent origination and taught it." So it means like so all the teaching which Buddha taught us through his own experience, what he sees and he show us. So here, so that's why our teacher Buddha Shakyamuni, he has extraordinary knowledge, and he is the extraordinary like a teacher. So why? Because he only teaches us what he sees. All his teaching is based on empirical, based on it's, we can say scientific basis.
Yeah.
Scientific basis, because it's not a kind of vision which he developed. It's the vision he discovered actually. And so that's why it's a self-discoverment. Discover, it means there is something already existent. This is what we need to find. Right? It's not some kind of invention. It's a new invention. So that's why it's a spiritual scientific basis on spiritual science, or based on. So that's why whosoever follow his teaching, they can reach, they can see what he discovered. They can discover what the Buddha himself discovered. So that's why when we follow the Buddha's teaching, it's not important the nation. It's not important the social status, etc. It's beyond all those. As a human, just based on humans, inner quality. Beyond all those, social status and nations, sexual orientations, or I don't know. There's a lot of this these days. They have different, diplomas, degrees, like power. We need to go beyond all those worldly concepts, and whosoever whosoever follow the teaching, because he's teaching based on our human inner qualities, and so that's why Buddha himself, he said when he introduced his wisdom, that in his, in his temple, or in his teaching, the social classes or social status are not important. The important is their own devotion and dedication, and the wisdom.
So Lama Tsongkhapa pay homage that our Buddha is exalted teacher, and he holds the exalted knowledge, because everything he teach us something related with how to dispel ignorance and sufferings. Why? So now the next two verses is like why it's so important to to having to know or to realize the dependent origination, and why it's so important to seeing that direct perception of emptiness, and so why the Buddha Shakyamuni, our teacher, is so grateful. So the next he said, whatever degenerations there are in the world, the root of all this ignorance, you taught that it is dependent origination, the seeing of which will undo this ignorance. So how can an intelligent person not comprehend that this path of dependent origination is the essential point of your teachings? So as Buddha himself said, that yesterday we also the Sutra of dependent arising, as he said, all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are told by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is told by the great seer. Buddha, he told us the cause of the suffering, and he told us also how to overcome the suffering. Because all those, as a samsara and as a nirvana, all are dependent arising. It's dependent originations. So why? Because all our controversy, conflict, all the suffering, because of ignorance. So that's why, because of ignorance, we have a difficulty to overcome our diluted mind. So once we have a diluted mind, that diluted mind always creates a non-virtuous karma. That non-virtuous karma always causes us, suffering, and keep us in the circular existence, round and round, round and round, as the kids sing, right? There's one, kids song, round and round, round
Mrs.
about.
Rachel, yeah.
Yeah, so it's go round. As a samsara is a round, with a round shape, it's go and because it's because our why it's go round and round, because our mind is conjections, right? It's blocked. It means there's a conjections. When it's a conjections, it no goes flows. The traffic is there's a conjection of traffic, so the traffic no go. Traffic is not moving. It just they are blocked. So that's why we have a foggy mind, we have an obscuration mind, we have a diluted mind. So while we have this, foggy, diluted, it's obscuration, then we don't know what to do. Everything is guessing, everything is judging, So it's very stressful. It's very confusing. If you go to some place and you don't know where you should go and what should you do, it's you are lost. When you are lost, it's very stressful. Then there is something we all know this. So actually we lost in samsara. We are lost in samsara, and we don't know where to go, what to do. So that's why we're always searching even we are willing to have a long-lasting happiness, but we search the long-lasting happiness where there is no long-lasting happiness, because we don't know, we are confused. Why we are confused? Because of ignorance. The ignorance is the root cause of all our sufferings. Because that, why it happens? Because of because of ignorance. We think our existence is inherent existent. As inherent existent, then we, we crave, me and mine. We crave the me and mine because once we crave, we become a slave. We become a slave. Once you are a slave, you don't have your own, authority, or you don't have your own right to follow your own wishes. So that's why everything is dependent on our karma. Our karma depends on our deluded mind. The deluded mind depends on ignorance mind. That ignorance mind, create the self-inherent existence, but actually in reality that self-inherent existence is empty. But we are just trying to grape something which there is like there is nothing. So we are grape, but we are expecting to to see something which there is real and self-inherent existent. So that's why we become we make a lot of suffering unnecessarily. So once we see the reality of dependent origination, and we see this vision, so liberate us from that confusion mind and mistaken mind. So that's why Buddha taught us the dependent origination, the teaching of dependent origination, to liberate us from that that craving mind or grasping mind. As soon as you liberate from that grasping, and we will get the liberation. As long as you crave, you sustain less. You don't get nothing. So as soon as we liberate, we will get the we will achieve state of liberation. So that actually Buddha teaches us how to release, not how to hold. And when you release, you will feel free. When you hold, you feel exhausted. Right? So releasing is more important than holding. Holding makes us, fear to lose, fear to stealing, fear to. So that's why the practice with Buddha, he teaches us that first the practice of the generosity. When we are generous, we are free and we are satisfied. When we are holding, we we become more close and more fearful, and we become miserable and unsatisfactions. So that's why because why it happens, because the end of the accumulation is end of the accumulation is finishing, exhaust.
Right.
So So that's why it's we need to break all our mental structure, which we, until now we think that, just having, carrying, holding make us secure, right? So that's why we accumulate, just, be free, release, and, not be holding, not having craving. We think they make us insecure. Actually, releasing gives us more liberation than, more secure than just grabbing. So this is how. So teaching help us to release. Our mind become more free, more spacious, more more resilience. So more satisfactions. So that's why there's a scientifically studies, right? There's says giving make us more satisfaction than receiving. This is how the scientifically approved, actually, and I think there's a two group of students, like kids. They give them money, and one group of kids, they buy the things for themselves. Another group of kids, they buy the things for other kids. So at the end, and those kids who bought for themselves, they were less happy, and those kids, they bought things for other kids, they were much more happier. They much more satisfied, and they are chores. So this is how means like give make us more pleasure than receive, actually. So that's why the giving is part of the releasing. Before you give, you need to release. You need to let it free. So that's why the self-grasping, the craving toward the self-inherent existence, me and mine, is the root cause of all the delusions. So that's why, as Chandrakriti himself, it's all the deluded mind caused by ignorance. As the vision of ignorance, it's a craving mind. Once the yogi liberate the craving mind, achieve the state of cessation. So, so related with the ignorance, there are two kinds of ignorance. Ignorance which is related with the law of cause and effect. Ignorance which is related with the reality. So, unfortunately, we have both a kind of ignorance related with the cause and effect. So that's why we don't mind to create a negative karmas. We don't mind to do the negative deeds. If you are really concerned the vision of right vision of law of cause and effect, you never how to say you're never going to be happy when you have you're never going to be happy to get extra free coffee in Starbucks. So usually we get happy. Oh, so today I got extra coffee in Starbucks, and that guy who charged the bills, he made mistake and he charged only. I had like a double espresso, but he charged me only single espresso. so we feel happy, right? So actually, the other espresso, it's you need to pay somehow in the future with the interest, but we don't see that interest, and we are ignorance the really low the cause of effect, and so that's why we feel so happy to get free extra coffee, or free extra milk, or free extra, and we don't mind to take some, those few packet of brown sugar to take to your own home, etc. Here it shows that we are not really, concerned the cause of law of cause and effect, and so because of this, so we, we born again and again in the state of miserables. We back to again and again in the state of miserable states. So that's why we don't mind to cheat ourselves. So then the ignorance which is related with the reality. So there is ignorance related with reality. There is a gross reality and subtle reality. The gross reality is a reality depend on cause and effect. Right? Everything depends on cause and effect. Even intellectually we all know,
yeah.
Intellectually, but emotionally or emotionally or internally, we don't, still we are not completely or totally convinced that everything depends on cause and effect. Because the cause and effect, it is so evident, we all see, we all know this, we all see and we all know, without, cause and effect, there is no any results. So then, the subtle reality of dependent origination, it's our existence is existence of dependent, not only dependent on cause and effect, dependent on dependent on the parts, right? Dependent on the parts, like east and west. Between east and west, there is not any causal cause and effect relations, but this is dependent on the east. The part of the east is dependent on the west. Dependent on the part of the west is dependent on the east. It's and then very subtle of dependent origination and the dependent of just dependent on designation. Everything dependent on mainly name and designation. It's more subtle. It's than the dependent on the part. Right? So like a part, dependent on the part, it's long and short. But the long itself dependent on the name and designation. It's a very subtle. So we don't, we are not yet understand all these dependent originations. So that's why we, we don't mind to, crave. We don't mind to, realize the virtuous deeds, because we are not be aware totally. So we need to be aware, and we need to be mindfulness, and so all these teachings, if we don't aware, and if we keep our mind based on that wrong perceptions, it always creates us the suffering, even you don't want the suffering. So that's why this is the problem, as Shantideva said, we all want to dispel, or we all want to, wish to liberate from the suffering, but each and every time we accumulate the cause of suffering. And each and every time we all wish to have a long-lasting happiness, but we don't mind to, we never create the cause of suffering. Because we are not aware of cause and effect. We are not aware of the dependent origination. Dependent origination as a so that's why we all the time craving. While we're craving, we think the thing exists itself. Things exist objectively. Things exist inherently, intrinsically, so etc. So if the thing exists intrinsically or inherently, so then it's okay to crave, because there's something which we can get it, but actually nothing we can get it as long as we so that's why the teaching of the Buddha is a teaching of selfless. The whosoever teach the self-exist, it makes us more self-centered. It makes us more, make our ego or our ego bigger. I mean, like whosoever has a big ego, right?
Yeah,
ego. It's hard to live in. It make hard to live, because wherever they go, it's just hitting.
Right.
As big as ego you have it, you hold it, you are going to hit everywhere. As small as ego you have it, it's like then you are going to not hit everywhere. So if your ego is so big, it's it's easy to hurt. It's easy to hurt.
Yeah, hurt.
Because it's if you need to shoot
a target.
Yeah. If you need to shoot the target is big, then it's easy to shoot it.
Yeah.
Right? The target is small, then it's not that easy.
Right.
So the ego is, if you keep the big ego, you have a big target that the rest of the world can shoot you time to time.
Right.
So when they shoot it, so then you feel hurted. So why you injure yourself time to time? Because of your having that big ego. Right? So if you so that's why you become a you become susceptible. It's called susceptible, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just become so sensitive. You become so sensitive. So being so sensitive, then you feel always hurted.
Right.
Always hurted. So that's why we don't deserve being hurted. We don't deserve to be, injured. So that's why Buddha teach us how to reduce our, that egoistic mind. That so that's why he taught us the teaching of selfless teaching. It's also it's a simple and understandable, and it's a logical actually. It's a logical, so there's no much it's not a complex teachings. So that's why Buddha himself, when he achieved the state of liberation, he said, he going to be silenced little while, because he found such a teaching, profound luminosity, it's free of complex, free of complex. It's simple. It means like free of complex is simple. It's own realizations. It's a wisdom. It's a known compound phenomenon. It's a non-compound phenomenon, or it's like it's a permanent. I mean, like it's not a volatile. It's not volatile. It's like a nectar. It's always give us the strength to live. He discovered, but nobody showing interest, and nobody going to understand. This is such a simple teaching, because we are so get used to have our habitualized to have a complex color, smell. It's a very so that's why he preferred to keep silence. He preferred to keep silence, and he preferred to just wait for the right moment until the people show interest. So this is how it is. So that's why it's so simple. So that's why it's our that is our how to say challenging, because the teaching of emptiness is so simple. So the simplicity we are not interested, and we are searching the long-lasting happiness through how to say through to being miserable, and through to being we have a controversial mind, not interested in the simple mind. Okay, this is the reason why we should so that's why so it's so that's why how it's possible that we don't understand his teaching. Not that we don't understand, because we don't want to understand actually.
Yeah.
We understand, but we are not. This is what we don't hear. We don't listen the teaching because we don't want to hear it. So our challenge is like we want to hear what we like.
What we want to hear.
What we want to hear. Right?
Right.
So sometimes it's say what they want to hear. They make them feel more comfortable.
Right.
Comfortable. So we just so that's why sometimes we feel easier to follow such kind of teaching, which like when somebody says what we want to hear, so it make us more easier and more comfortable. But it's actually at the end it doesn't help us.
Right.
So sometimes it's hard to listen something which we don't want to hear it. So it makes us, how to say,
our egos don't like it.
yeah, our egos don't like it, and we like it makes us in a conflict.
Right,
In
right.
a conflict because we also get used to self-cheating. So that's why when we talk about the death, it's a reality, but people how to say,
They don't like to mention.
longing to not hear
Right.
the word, such a word like a death. So that's why we neglect the death. Actually, the death is like life is no more than death, because life is actually slow death.
Yeah.
And it's worse, Maybe it is how it is.
This is how it is.
Yeah, this is how it is. So that's why it's like in following the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we have this art of mandala. It's a beautiful art. It requires hours and days work. At the end of the mandala is the ceremony of destroying the mandala, even the walk. Because why they're destroying the mandala? Because we need to create better mandala. Instead of stucking with the old mandala.
Yeah.
We need to be more. So I think at the end it helps us to be more creative. If you are how to say, if you put the your ultimate goal, I mean then that ultimate goal actually make you more obstruction. It's obstruct you to be more creative.
Yeah.
If there is no any definite and only goal, so you become more creative. Like the monks and the ordained, all those practitioners, they make a mandala, and at the end they make a ceremony of destroying the mandala, and they're thinking for the how to create the better mandala in the future. It's improving. It's never stopped. They improve.
Right, improvement.
So like if all those mandala, those ordained, those practitioners create, if they kept it, I think first of all they are going to have a problem with the space. They are not going to have enough space because and then that each mandala tempted them to to craving this mandala. I met it, so it creates a lot of conflict. For example, so this is how life it is. It's actually death. It's not a end of our life. It's a regenerate. I mean, it's a new creation of life. If there is no death, there is no new creation of life. So there is a new creation, then new continuity and regenerations. Actually, it's a more imagine if there is no death, I think we won't have enough resources, and it will be a lot of problem in the world. So this is how it is, how it goes. So that's why this is the reality. All the reality, as soon as we accept, it transforms. If we neglect, it subdue us. If we neglect, then the death and the reality, the death and the reality subdue us. If we accept the reality and death, it make us, it transform us, it liberate us. This is how actually in our life. So that's why the comprehension of emptiness is introduction of the enter of emptiness. Because emptiness is a gross reality. The emptiness is a subtle reality, actually. So that's why, but we don't want to see it because we are so, ourselves or get used to. So that's why, it's, if you don't understand the teaching of the Buddha, the teaching, like essential point of your teachings, the teaching, because we don't want actually, or maybe our subconsciousness are not interested, because subconsciousness is so, still hanging with a craving mind. We say, so that's why the teaching of the Buddha, it's a very simple teaching. So continuously, the Lama Tsongkhapa, he said, this being so, who will find, O Savior, a more wonderful way to praise you than to praise you for having taught this origination through dependence? So the reason why we homage to Buddha, we praise to Buddha, not that Buddha is so handsome, is so kind. No, because we praise, because he teach us how to liberate us from the suffering which the things that we are not interested, we are not desiring. So he accomplished our desire, he accomplished our aspirations. So that's why Buddha is worthwhile to praise and homage. Only the Buddha in this world, they manifested the different teachers, different founders. The only Buddha dared to teach us the dependent originations. Until the moment of the Buddha, nobody think, neither nor they try to teach the dependent originations. So the teaching of dependent origination, teaching of the impermanence, teaching of the emptiness are very particular teaching of the Buddha. It's very scientific and very particular teaching. It's a teaching, reliable teachings, teaching which we can accomplish all our aspirations. Also Nagarjuna, he homaged to the Buddha, that Buddha teach us the ultimate teaching. So that's why a teaching which is related with love, kindness, and emotions, mind, are very important and very profound, but that's all teachings belong to the conventional truth. It's a conventional, but the teaching which is related with the wisdom is ultimate teaching. Teaching is the dependent origination, it's ultimate teaching. It's it's a definite teaching, not an interpretable teaching. So this why so we are so grateful to find such a great teacher like a Buddha, and we are so grateful that we follow such a reliable teaching. So we have a lot of reason to be happy and feel grateful. We don't have any. We have a lot of, so as the Shantideva said, why we always choose the non-virtuous things and the things it make us conflict and suffering. Even we have a choice to, even we have a choice to, even we have things to choice to how to, improve our mind, how to, awaken our mind. But why we don't choose these kind of things? So that's why we are so grateful. Every time we think to the Buddha, we should think, we should feel grateful and fortunate. So this and rejoice. Every time we feel rejoice, we liberate from our miserable state of mind. So that's why one of the practice of the refuge, and we always remind the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So reminding to help us to reminding the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So we purchase the statues to remind the presence of the Buddha. We purchase the texts, classical texts, a textbook that remind us to the presence of the Dharma. So we go as a practitioner. We go time to time to see the temples, monks, ordens, that help us to remind the presence of the Sangha. If you remember the presence of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you keep the the power of refuge in your mind. When you keep the power of refuge in your mind, you you are protected. You are connected. So that's why these days. Not only purchasing the images and statues, also if you like the tattoos, you can draw the tattoos in your body, the image of the Buddha. It's a little bit controversial as old school, but I think the time changes. Our necessity changes, our mentalities. It changes. We need to adapt the changes. If you don't adapt to the changes, you are not going to survive.
Right.
As a species, those species who adapt the climate, or who adapt the
environment,
environment, that species or bird or animal have a future.
Right.
Those animals who are not adapting the environment, they are not going to survive anymore.
Right.
Now, if we all wishes to last the teaching, we
wish the teaching to last.
We wish to teaching to last. We need to adapt the situations, circumstances.
Right.
Circumstances. So like technologies, the tendencies. So that's why it just every time. If in my case, I personally, I'm not keen to have a tattoos in my body, because I don't dare to feel this pain, those pain, So, but I'm personally not. Many of my disciples are, few of my disciples are who draw the
tattoo artist.
Tattoo artists. They time to time they offer me to have a tattoos,
free
but I said no, thank you. I'm not interested to have a tattoos. But the people who like the tattoos, I think it's okay to have a tattoo of Buddha to remind them the presence of the the Buddha. So reminding the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, remember the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is the the secret to how to keep the presence of the refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. But it doesn't mean that everyone need to have a tattoo, Buddha tattoo, or mantras on their body. I'm not saying this. But actually, the time of the Buddha himself, when they said you drawing the mantra and the cloth, and that cloth keep with you, touch with your body, it makes you protect your body. This is how the many amulet
Yeah.
based on
This idea.
this idea, So now I think those young, young or not enough young people also love to have a drawing on their bodies, So some I saw a lot of senior citizens carrying a different tattoo with a lot of wrinkles, wrinkle tattoos, tattoo. So for maybe it's irrelevant, but anyhow, it's very important to keep our mind connected with the Dharma.
Mm-hmm.
So that as a beginner practitioner, then remember. We make us easy to remember if we see something physically, right? So that's why we purchase the images as a representative of Buddha, the tags as a representative of Dharma. We then, we homage to Sangha, we homage to the ordained. This all help us to remember. So through this we remember that our existence are interdependent, our existence are volatile, our existence is just based on designation or merely name. It's a totally empty. So that's why we homage to, we praise to Buddha. Not that we praise to Buddha, that Buddha is sublime, it's extraordinary. No, it's extraordinary, but he never give us, if he never give us how to, if he never give us the teaching or guide us how to liberate from the suffering. So, as our own interest, it's not really worthwhile to praise. So that's why I think Dharmakriti, is a beautiful text wrote by Dharmakirti. Also he said, I think it's in a text related with Pramanavartika Karika logic. He said, I don't homage to Buddha, I don't follow the Buddha, that Buddha knows how many trees in this world, how many species in the ocean. But I homage to Buddha, I follow the Buddha because he helped me to overcome my own miserable state. So it's good to know how many species in the ocean. It's good to know how many trees in this world. It's good. But just knowing how many trees in this world is not going to overcome your miserable state of mind. You still keep, you still staying in a circling existent. Okay. Do you have any questions? Because yesterday we didn't
Take questions.
Yeah, we didn't get a time to question and answers.
Rinpoche.
Yeah.
Name and designation, are they the same or they are different?
It's the same, I think synonymous, just designated, just naming. Put the mark or etiquettes.
But we have phenomenons that have no names, right?
Phenomenal which it's no name, like what, like?
The one that cannot be named.
It's if we don't know, we cannot
We don't recognize them.
we don't recognize.
If we don't recognize them, do they?
If we don't see, we don't see, that phenomenon is not exist, because existent or inexistent is depend on Semyatruba. It's depend on this the perception, depend on the affirmation of that valid cognition.
So basically, invalid cognitions are the things we see that have a name on it.
Yes, because we just see, we name it.
So which one comes first, the name or the
Phenomenon.
which one comes first, name
Which
or
one
phenomenon?
comes name, I think.
Name comes first.
Who comes first?
Or they come together, like the lady get pregnant.
Come together, I think.
So the soon you get pregnant, the name is on it.
Yeah.
The same time.
Same time, yes.
Interesting. So me and the Tarshan seem the same. So Rinpoche, there's no phenomenon that only have a definition. The definition and the definition. Definition is the name. Definition is the explanation of the name, right?
Yeah, description.
Description.
Yeah.
So we give the description first, or we give the name first? I mean, not we. I mean, like when we name it.
Yeah, I think it's simultaneously, because there's 8 relations which they need to, as a definite and definition.
Yeah.
They need to complete. There's 8 conditions.
Right. So it's the same time.
Same time, yeah. Okay, so still we have time, so we will keep the next verses. Whatsoever depends on conditions, that is devoid of intrinsic existence. What excellent instruction can there be more amazing than this proclamation? It's a very extraordinary. Here, the homage prays to Buddha, because it's extraordinary. Buddha proclaimed or says that everything depends on originations, depend on cause and effect, depend on their parts, depend on. So this is very extraordinary that he dared to say this. Especially those teaching which is related with the emptiness is considered as the highest teaching. So that's why when Buddha Shakyamuni he asked to protect his teaching to Ananda, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Ananda, if he degenerate, teaching something directly related with like ethic, emotional concentrations, it's if he degenerate these kind of teachings, Buddha won't be much upset. Much upset because of the degeneration of this teaching, or not keeping firmly this kind of teachings. But he is going to very upset if the Ananda degenerate the teaching of emptiness. Teaching of emptiness, he will be very upset with him. So that's why Buddha, he said, he asked Ananda to never degenerate the teaching of the emptiness when he asked him to protect the teachings. So why? Because the emptiness, the teaching of emptiness is the essence teaching of, it's like hardcore of Buddha's teaching. Actually, because this is the emptiness is the only way to achieve the state of liberation. So that's why the first time Buddha gave Buddha turned the wheel of the second wheel of Dharma, which is directly related with the pristine mind of sublime wisdom. It's a personal paramita, and before he make his own hand the throne. He make his own hand. He make himself.
He used his own hands to make.
He used his own hand to make throne. And just before staying on the throne, he prostrate the throne because why he did like this? Because showing respect. Showing respect the teaching, and he, and he prostrate the teaching because, because, because he is going to talk the teaching related with the emptiness and wisdom. So that's why it's the main teaching is the teaching of emptiness. It's like hard. So I think I saw there's questions like there is beyond emptiness. It's a good question. It's a beyond emptiness. It's emptiness itself is a beyond, go beyond. So there's no need to go beyond because you already in beyond. Once you're in beyond, then you don't need to be, there's no need to go further. So that's why beyond burger.
Oh, Beyond Burger.
Beyond Burger, right?
Very delicious.
You eat the Beyond Burger. Why? Because you want to be vegan.
Right.
You want to be vegan. So so you don't need to go beyond vegan. If you go to beyond vegan, you're going to be empty stomach.
Right.
You're going to have so that's why once you go beyond the burger, you already reached the
Beyond the emptiness.
you already reached the realization of vegan. So once you have a realization of vegan, so you don't need to go beyond the vegan. So if you go beyond the vegan, then maybe you will get empty stomach. So that's why once there's no necessarily to go beyond the emptiness, because once you get emptiness, you already
emptiness is the ultimate.
Yeah, the beyond.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes. I want to know. You said that when we accept, we start to change.
Sorry, can you repeat? When we are?
When we accept.
Accept.
We start to change. Acceptation.
Yeah. When we are accept, yes. Yeah, we
For
does.
example, it means that when we accept limits, how is another person or how I am.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
in relation to another person, if I have, for example, a husband that is very negative,
Yeah.
and I accept that, how can that acceptation change the things?
Okay.
And also, if I am, for example, not so quick as other for doing the things,
Yeah.
so I get desperate. I said, my time is not enough for me because I
Yeah.
If I accept that, how can things change? Can you explain?
Yeah. Very good. How to say?
This is kind of poor acceptation, but
Yeah. Very good questions. It's a very, how to say, tricky questions and very sensible. So, acceptance doesn't mean that be submissive. Acceptance means the, how to say, confront the reality. So that's why if you have a husband which treats you bad, you don't need to be submissive as a, as a wife, and but you can accept that you have a right to have a respect. You don't need to neglect your own respect in this case. So that's why acceptance means, you have a right to, how to say, have a, respectful life and a non-violence life. So that's why there's a little bit confusion. Acceptance. So if you accept that you deserve the good treat, then you renounce the violence that which he. So also then you also you need to accept the karma to find violent husband. You need to accept the karma. So through this acceptance, the karma, so you need to, you will get you will change to purify the, that negative karma which you facing it. So that in this case, the way of purification or way of changing is just asking the divorce. Just asking the divorce is the part of the purification. As long as you stay with that aggressive person, he or she is going to treat you bad, but you don't deserve mistreated. So that's why that separation is the part of the purification, because you accept it, that your karma, negative karma. If you don't accept, you are not going to change it. Accept doesn't mean submissive, and accept doesn't mean, submissive, right? Submitment or
submissive.
Yeah. Submissive.
What
Yeah.
about the example then?
Underestimate.
Underestimate.
Underestimate. So the another acceptance is like you are not, how to say, quick. This is what you ask, right?
Yes, for example, the other example is that I am not quick as many people are to do the things. Nowadays, you have to do fast.
Understand. Understand.
So fast.
Understand. You need to accept it because this is your own quality, not being so quickly, not being so fast. It is your own quality and it's your own element. The important is doing, not that doing fast or doing slow. So that's why you accept as your own quality, and you don't need to comparison that the others are doing so fast and I'm not doing fast. You accept, doing slow is your own, your particular quality. It's your own particular. You don't need to, comparison. As soon as you comparison, it make us, it obstruct us to seeing our own quality. We all born as our own particular quality. We don't need to be, how to say, you make it uniform. Everything is the same. There's not necessarily. So the people blaming if you are not doing fast. This is their problem. So you don't need to be. You just accept how you are and how you do, and you need to know your own element. Your element is doing slow, and some people, their element is dynamic, and they need to do everything with a full of stress and dynamic. That's okay, as long as they doesn't bother others. So in this case, I would say, if you don't neglect that your own element, right, then you are not going to underestimate your personal quality. So that's why your personal quality is the things that you do, calmly, firmly. This is your own quality, and that makes, that help you to transform you to learn how to do the quick. Because you are focusing, and it's doing quickly or doing slowly. It's depend on the time. So if we learn and if we are getting used to enough, so we can do, if we are good habited to doing these things, then you can do it quicker. Okay? Yeah.
I can take advantage maybe of how do I do that things slow. Maybe I can see that it has maybe a certain positive
Quality, characteristic. Yes, of course, yes. Yeah.
maybe more reflecting, more analyzing, or maybe like that. Is acceptation also?
Yes, this is acceptation. You see the quality and you accept. You respect that how you are, and you know yourself better. You don't let the others to manipulate in you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Simena. Yeah. So that's why Buddha taught us nothing exists inherently, intrinsically. Everything exists, with the dependent originations. Everything is dependent on origination. It's empty of inherent existence. And once you know the empty of inherent existence, all your conjunctive or behavior or thoughts going to be rightful. So they can see the maturity, and then we become a righteous. So 6. Okay, now it's 11:15. I think we
take a break.
We take a break, and afternoon.
We start at 3.
We will start 3 from verses 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will offer mandala. Sa yin bei yin zhu xie me do zhang ri zha lin xie yin de gen bao de sang ye xing do ming dian bi wa ye zhu gu nam da xing la jue wa rai shu ye dang ma gu ru zha na man zha la ga ni ya da ya me. Okay, dedication. May the precious mind of enlightenment not yet born arise and grow. May that born will not decline but increase forever. In order order to follow the excellent examples set by the wisdom of the Bodhisattva Manjushri and the always summoned Sublime Samantabhadra, I dedicate all virtue to their peerless ideals, all conquerors pass, and to the 3 times have praised as supreme. This peerless dedication, therefore, I also surrender all roots of my activities to the sublime goals of Bodhisattva. May all sentient beings, our fathers and mothers, have stable happiness. May all the able-gone realms become empty forever. May all the prayers of all the Bodhisattvas ever they reside before them. Daso Chinyi Sawe Gyawa Dita Nandro Kuna Kambe the Chibarjis Mosan Tawa Tembe Nimbo Ringo Seji Sho Temba Rinji Chogi Macha Chaja Nimbo Yubi Chori Inji Chimbo Europe Chobo Pende and the Sewa Cheba. Okay, thank you so much. See you at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah. Gracias.